So I just spoke or droned on for about an hour about digital twins, robotics, physical AI, and so forth. So I hope all of that is fresh in your memories. So I won't take too much time here to set this up. But for a quick setup, there's a new industrial revolution that's happening now. It consists of both of the types of factories I mentioned. There's the ones that produce physical things and the ones that produce tokens, intelligence. We're building out this infrastructure faster than mankind has ever built anything. And so we're stressing everything to the limits. At the same time, we're reindustrializing countries. This is an opportunity for every country to build within their own country and be part of the global ecosystem. But there's a lot of challenges that come with this. There's a skills gap. We don't have enough people in the world to go work inside these factories and build these factories for us. And the timescales at which we have to do it with this complexity is just enormous. So with that as the setup, I'd like to introduce the rest of our panel here. If you guys can go one by one and introduce yourselves. Tell us about your company, about your roles and responsibilities, and what you're doing to help with this great problem that is in front of us. This great problem and great opportunity. Rosalind, let's start with you.
Excellent. Thanks, Rev. Really pleased to be here today. My name is Rosalind Stewart. I'm with Hitachi Digital. My role is essentially in Hitachi Digital to lead the industrial AI and digital transformation into our industries, such as Hitachi Energy and Hitachi Rail. Hitachi is a huge company with many different business units, including a digital systems and services business unit. So we have over 100,000 software engineers worldwide, and my role is essentially to orchestrate these key digital AI, physical AI initiatives with Hitachi Energy and Hitachi Rail, using our digital business unit and also our partners in our ecosystem, such as NVIDIA. So I'll be talking about a few of those key components today, both in the normal factories which Rev was talking about, but also how we're playing a key role in AI factories today.
Thank you. And Mark?
Yeah, thanks, Rev. I'm Mark Segura. I'm the president of ABB Robotics, in charge of the whole business globally. You probably know we will be transitioning to be part of SoftBank very soon. And yes, about ABB Robotics, I mean, one of the leaders of industrial robotics, more than 50 years. We have out there more than 500,000 robots working in factories, 25,000 customers. So we built this depth of understanding of the industry challenges. We grown up in automotive, then we graduated in electronics, consumer electronics, later on logistics, life sciences, now the big data center build up, as you said, and going forward, of course, hoping to continue to lead now with the simulation and physical AI era.
Fantastic. And with SK Hynix, we have Sung-Young.
Yeah. Thank you, Rev. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here at GTC. My name is Sung-Young Do, and I'm the CIO of SK Hynix. I lead the digital and AI transformation focused on manufacturing system. I look forward to sharing our insights and learning from the other panelists.
Fantastic. Rainer?
Yeah, my name is Rainer. I'm since 25 years at Siemens. I'm there, the COO for the automation business and the CTO for digital industry. And at Siemens, we want to combine the real and the digital world. And being a leader in industrial software as in automation, I think we are the one fueling, together with NVIDIA, this next revolution that Rev just talked about.
Great partner. And Xiaoping from Agile Robots.
Hello, everyone. This is Xiaoping Chen. I'm the founder and CEO of Agile Robots. In Agile Robots, we are a German company based in Munich, and we were actually born with physical AI. From the first foundation of the company, we are trying to reach physical AI. That was like 7-8 years ago already. And we're not only talking about physical AI, we're trying to And we are actually implementing all different kind of applications across the different countries and different continents, from Foxconn factories in Asia to automakers in Europe to the big labs in Silicon Valley and London. And then we're right now trying to mitigate the whole gap between the physical AI to the applications. Thank you.
So maybe we can start with you, Rosalind. From your perspective, what does industrial design, engineering, and manufacturing from here on out look like? What are the technologies that we need? What are the problems we need to solve, and what are the possible solutions?
Okay, I'll take a couple of examples. So we at the moment have launched our Hitachi Rail Lighthouse facility in Maryland, and one of the biggest things that we wanted to solve, especially when we think about where we want to go to in physical AI, is that in traditional manufacturing facilities, there's a lot of data silos. So with physical AI and any AI, you really need to have your data all on one platform. So to be able to do...
What problems does that cause, having the data silos?
You can't then bring together different... you can't do an outside-in view, and you also can't potentially do an inside-out. So by having all your data together, from your PLM through to your enterprise data to your manufacturing operation, then you can really have what we call, and I think Jensen uses this words and you use this words, the outside-in approach. So then we can see really what's happening in the whole four walls in the manufacturing facility. And by having that data on a unified platform, once we have that, we have the sensors, the data, then we can really see how we can long-term make fully autonomous operations within the factory. So I think that's where we should be going in the future with engineering and manufacturing.
That's the single biggest problem from your perspective, is the integration of all of this information from all the different systems.
I think the integration of the information, but then also as we're going into the new frontier of physical AI, having the fact that the models are trained enough, and that the models are reliable in mission critical systems. So whether we're, again, in the factory four walls, we're creating these systems that will go into mission critical environments, we need to be able to trust those models that are engineering and manufacturing them. And when then that physical equipment that is sensorized physically goes into those industrial environments, that we trust the model. So I think the two biggest challenges is the integrated data and the platform, and then actually physically trusting the model. So in terms of physical AI, we want to get to the ChatGPT moment of what we did in digital and LLM a few years ago.
And Mark, would you like to take that question too?
Yeah, I mean, what are we seeing as challenges? First, let me tell you what's going to stay, what's not going to change. Our customers need industrial-grade performance. I mean, anything we're doing to help them, I mean, the manufacturers, we need to have the safety, we need to have the speed, reliability. There has to be a value business case. That's not going to go away, AI or no AI. Now, those fundamental values of robotics will continue, but now what's changing? There are two things that are changing. The first one is uncertainty. I mean, companies cannot plan for the long term. I mean, be the supply chain, be the channel to market, be the technology disruptions, be the customer taste and preference, everything is changing so fast. So they are telling us they need real-time adaptive factories. They need factories that can respond to these changes in real time without the minimum CapEx and OpEx to be put on the factories. We're advocating changing the topology of the factories, going from fixed, high volume, low mix lines, break it down, the robotic cells into individual robot cells, and then have all the material flow through mobile robots. So we are offering mobile robots and fixed robots to have this new architecture. With that, we can offer an architecture that can really deliver this flexibility. On the other hand, the big change that is not new, but many people is kind of, in a way, ignoring because it's slowly creeping, is labor shortage. Demography is set in stone. It's not going to change. And every single day, the clock is ticking. More customers don't find people. So how are we addressing that? We need more robots doing more things in more places. And that's all about autonomy and versatility. So on one hand, we're proposing a new architecture for factories to be adaptable. On one hand, we're making those robots more capable through physical AI, giving them more skills and more versatility. The combination of two then can lead us to this autonomous factory.
Fantastic answer.
Yes. I think the biggest challenge today is that AI demand is growing very fast. But semiconductor manufacturing cannot expand at the same speed. Demand for AI memory is increasing very quickly. To respond to this, SK hynix is expanding capacity not only in Korea, but also globally. Our investment in Indiana is part of that effort. But the challenge is not only building more fabs. New fabs take a long time to build and to ramp up. So we have to do two things at the same time, expand the capacity and improve productivity in existing fabs. At the same time, manufacturing itself is becoming much more complex. In the past, memory products were more standardized, but now with HBM and with more customized products, our fab operations are becoming much more complicated. So we now have to make much other decisions across quality, cost, and speed. And because of that, human experience and rule-based automation are no longer enough. That is why SK hynix is moving toward an autonomous fab by 2030. For us, this is not only about improving today's fabs. It is about building a system that can learn faster, make better decisions, and move faster from fab design to production ramp-up. That has become essential in the AI era.
So fully autonomous by 2030, that's the goal? Yeah. Wow. Rainer?
Thank you.
You can't do it sooner. We need it now, not in 2030.
Yeah, maybe building on what Mark just said. I mean, industry reliability is very important, but also now the flexibility. But you all need to get this on a high or a very good return of invest. And you could do today a lot of things already, but you don't have the return of invest because you have a lot of manual effort to create a digital twin. You could automate today something, but if you want to go into a fully autonomous and flexible production, there's not a business case yet. So how we bring the cost down to build that great technologies to get a return of invest for our customer. I think that's very important. And with that, basically, you said you want to move from a rule-based automation, you need to go to a goal-based automation. And that means goal-based means you need to tell the system what to do and how it's been done, the system needs to figure out by itself. And there, AI is the key. So we need to bring AI into the automation world, which is today completely rule-based. You write your program, very deterministic, but you need to go to a flexible production, a good return of invest with the use of AI.
And so what is Siemens doing to merge those things together?
Well, on the one side, you still have your classical control system, but we will enhance it with skills. So basically, you do your things, and then basically you say, but now grab this one. And you don't say how to grab it. You don't tell the coordinate to the robot, to the ABB robot, or to Agile robot how to do it. You basically grab it, and the system itself figure out how to do that. And you need to do that combining AI, but if you do that, probably you need to add simulation as well. So you need to bring simulation and AI in a real-time environment on the shop floor with all the safety constraints and so on. So I think that is, where we move together.
And Xiaopeng, fantastic.
Yeah, just to echo what Mark and Rainer were saying, our experiences actually are quite aligned with others' fellow colleagues. So what we saw the biggest challenges on manufacturing is a balance between flexibility and precision and throughput. Meaning that because automation, robotization is not new. This is a long time existing in the industry. But getting 100% or let's say highly automation and robotization, that will constrain quite a lot of flexibility as well. I'm giving you one example. The consumer electronics products you guys are using right now, taking a phone, for example, every probably 1 month, the product will get into the next generation. Well, even before you finish the line on automation, actually the products get into the next generation already. So, but in the meanwhile, those manufacturing domain will require extreme throughput, more than 99% of the success rate at year rates, and require probably more than 600-700 of UPH. Those kind of like really extreme requirements for industry, for automation, and for robotics. This put a lot of pressure on how to find the right balance point. So from our point of view, I think to mitigate the gap, so this will require quite high level and really general purpose of physical AI intelligence. Meaning that, so this is what we do in Agile Robots. We believe that how to get the 3 major factors of physical AI into manufacturing, that's probably the key to resolve the problem. Meaning that foundation model or robotics, and which is providing generalization of the intelligence, multi-different environments of robotics from humanoids, biped humanoids, wheeled humanoids, and robot arms, mobile systems. And then the last factor is actually data, which is really important as well from my point of view. Has to be a fusion of the data from real robotics or automation data to television data to synthetic data, which actually Ray and the team doing a really good job. And also internet scale of data, which increases the bar of intelligence. So we already saw the proving points, and then we see the tipping point is coming, because we have tens of thousands of intelligent robotic systems working everywhere. We're trying it out already in different factories, from automotive to consumer electronics.
What was that number? Tens of thousands?
Yes. So, and this is what we saw, that the tipping point is coming in the next 12 to 24 months.
Great answers. All right, I'm going to start jumping around here a little bit so we don't just keep doing the sequential thing.
Sure.
Mark, maybe to you. So how are ABB Robotics and your customers using simulation and AI for the advanced automation and physical AI?
We're fans of simulation. Yeah. We started 1998 with Robot Studio, and so we have a long journey there. Of course, all the efforts we've put on simulation have been all these years around the robot, to make the robot, the seam-to-real gap of the robot, be inexistent. And we achieved that, but that's never been the end game. So we've always wanted to expand that accuracy to the broader work cell, ultimately to the line. And now,
so the way you simulated
Yeah.
the robot, it was pretty much in isolation. It didn't interact with the environment.
You could simulate, I mean, you could, of course, graphically put the environment of the robot. That would help you to create non-collision trajectories. But when it came to physical representation of the product, of the environment, like lighting, vision cameras, and so on, we could not do that. Last week, we announced our partnership, and we launched Robot Studio Hyper Reality, now embedding Omniverse libraries and capabilities into Robot Studio. We're expanding what's been already a successful, right? We have more than 60,000 Robot Studio engineers, customers using it every day, deploying tens of thousands of robots every year. Now, the role of simulation expands to be not only about the robot, being about co-engineering the product. As soon as the PLMs produce the first drawings, we can embed the material properties, and you can design the cell for that. So you have concurrent engineering. You crush design times. You are saving the need for prototypes or kind of dry runs of the line, because...
And for those that don't know, that's a huge...
It's a huge
cost for
40% of cost, half of the time we're cutting. And of course, in the same platform, then, since you have this hyperrealism, then that's the place to have high-grade synthetic data for training the AI models. Because once again, what's not going to change, customers want industrial-grade performance, hence the AI models also need to deliver. So we have all in the same pack. We're augmenting simulation to be the platform for hyperrealism beyond the robot, cutting design, no need for prototype, but it's the arena to also train the industrial-grade AI model.
I mean, I think this makes so much sense, because the robots that you've been building for decades, they're wonderful machines, but largely they've been blind.
Yeah,
They can't see.
absolutely.
And for the first time, we're giving them the ability to see. And in order for them to be able to see, you need to simulate the worlds they're going to operate in.
You need to train
them. And you guys are adding that capability.
Simulation is cheaper, safer. So whatever we can do there, we're not going to do in the physical world.
All right, then let's maybe jump to Rainer. How are software-defined automation, digital twins, and AI driving impact across the manufacturing life cycle? What are you guys seeing at Siemens?
Well, if you come in from the automation side, you'll think about you never change a running system. Basically, don't switch it off, it runs, don't change it. It runs and it produces. But that's
once you've commissioned it.
Once you commissioned it, let it run. But you need to come to a way of, you're constantly updating a system. And how do you constantly update? You don't do it via hardware, you do it via software defined. You do updates via software. But now the issue comes in a lot of the processes in manufacturing are certified. A lot of the aspects you need really to make sure it's commissioned and it's working. So how you get to a way that you do from software development, DevOps. You do something and compile it in its operation. So can you do a DevOps in the OT world? Can you do a DevOps on the shop floor? If you want to do this,
your factory, it's like a phone or your car now.
Change the variance of what you produce. Optimize on different criteria, optimize on energy, optimize on quality. So do that DevOps. That would mean you need to simulate, because in software development you simulate. You simulate the hack and then you do it.
It's our CI systems.
Exactly. On the shop floor, the issue is maybe in a software, if something goes wrong, you can switch back. In manufacturing, if a machine crashes or a human is injured, that's not what you want. So now digital twins come in. So you
can destroy your company.
Yeah. So you need to simulate upfront. What we do also for robotics, this process simulate. You have digital twins in the future which run on real time, consuming the real data, the real sensor data, actor data from the factory, and you simulate everything. And then if you really make sure it happens, you can switch over. And with that, basically, you come to a more software-defined element using digital twins. But beside only the runtime aspect, you need to look at the engineering as well, how you can optimize engineering to create the digital twins, and how you also, when you add a robot, you're already on a cell level. But normally a work order comes in and you need to produce something, a batch comes in. So how you break this now down to different elements which you distribute in the factory to get it done. So also this kind of what today is an MES system needs to be revolutionized in order to get it really also very flexible.
Rosalind, so how are you at Hitachi using software, simulation, and AI for these large infrastructure build-outs?
Yeah, okay, so I'll focus more on the build-outs in the energy space and railway space to answer this question. But first of all, taking back a step back within Hitachi, what we said the first thing we wanted to do was build an AI factory ourselves. So we wanted to have the underlying infrastructure of your latest HB300s and your RTX 6000 Pros in a factory to make available to all our business units. And the reason why, in our great partnership with NVIDIA, that we wanted to do that was that we saw early on how the three-computer solution of NVIDIA can really help us accelerate in the engineering, manufacturing, but also in the operational space. So we are utilising, obviously, the first computer to train our models, whether that's in the energy industry, in using QDSS in our power solvers to solve interconnection, transmission into generation into transmission problems, or whether it's the models that we're using to then deploy on our trains. However, early on we saw that these models, you can't just go and inject a defect into a mission-critical, large scale-out, build-out. So picking up on the simulation computer, but in a different aspect, we are fully simulating different infrastructure environments, such as a railway line or a railway overhead catenary line that powers the train, And the reason why we're simulating that is mainly so we can, using the Omniverse and Isaac Sim, we can inject defects into the Omniverse and see how that looks like in the real world, but in the Omniverse environment, being the second computer. And that's so important for generating the synthetic data. And by having that synthetic data, we can then fine-tune our models. And then we can eventually deploy those models on the IGX Thor card and essentially have those models working. So in the case of the railway environment, installing these IGX edge cards on the trains, we can have our sensorized environment going into this card. The models are running, they are detecting the defects that have been fine-tuned on the Omniverse environment, and then they act.
You already have these deployed?
We have a couple deployed in some of our European railway environments, yeah. So we
Europe
really
needs it.
In
Especially
Italian,
Germany.
No, not Germany. We can talk about that afterwards, Ray. But no, we have a couple in deployment, and now we're fully productionizing it. And it's just so exciting, this three-computer solution, and partnering with NVIDIA because of the speed, but having in Australia, Hitachi deployed the world's heaviest robot, which is a Rio Tinto iron ore train, 3 kilometres long, 30,000 tonnes of iron ore, 30 trains hit port every 24 hours, and it is essentially it's fully unmanned.
The world's heaviest robot.
Yeah, so it's in the Guinness Book of Records as the world's heaviest robot, fully autonomous.
I want to see that.
You can come, we'll take you. But we put that into operation in 2018, and as we're deploying NVIDIA's technology across our large infrastructure build-outs in Hitachi, constantly thinking if only we had that back then, the deployment time and engineering time could have been significantly cut down. So I think this is where we're in the inflection point of coming into physical AI, like I mentioned at the start, is how can we use these tools, the speed of which this can go, but still have the criticality of deploying into mission-critical, safety-critical environments. And just to wrap up the question, that's where bringing in the digital with the domain knowledge and then the data is so critical, bringing these three key ingredients together to make these solutions not just a one-off solution, but scalable for the long term, and making them quick as well.
And Seung-Young, how are you using digital twins, AI agents, and physical AI for all of your plants?
At SK Hynix, we are building our autonomous fab around the 3 connected pillars: operational AI, physical AI, and digital twins. Together, they connect intelligence, execution, and simulation. First, operational AI is the brain of our factory. It's not only about automating tasks, but also automating engineering judgment. Mm-hmm. Even in highly automated fabs, many critical decisions still depend on experienced engineers. So we are capturing that expertise and using AI agent to analyze data and turn it into actions across the factory. As a result, we have reduced the turnaround time by more than 50%, such as equipment maintenance and defect analysis. Second, physical AI is the body. We are moving in 2 directions. One is making our existing systems smarter. For example, transporting robots such as OHTs already move wafers automatically based on command from intelligent material control systems. Now we are connecting them more closely to our operational AI, and so they can respond more intelligently and avoid bottlenecks. The other direction is expanding automation into areas that still depend heavily on people or are hard to automate, such as parts delivery, chemical handling, and equipment maintenance. Using vision-based robots and AMRs, we expect to improve safety, increase transport efficiency, and reduce parts inventory by around 30%. Finally, digital twins provide the environment where all of this can evolve safely. Using the NVIDIA Omniverse platform, we are building a virtual version of our most advanced fabs. In this environment, we simulate production flow, material movement, and fab layout before applying changes in the real factory. This allows us to run large simulations, train AI models, and optimize operations without interrupting real production. So in summary, these three pillars are helping us move toward truly autonomous path, autonomous semiconductor manufacturing.
So it sounds like even though 2030 is a few years away, you're already implementing a lot of these things and getting benefits now.
Yeah. Our goal is 2030.
All right, Xiaoping. We can't wait, but we'll wait, I guess, if we have to. All right, let's see. What technologies are helping us move beyond industrial automation to AI-driven manufacturing?
Yeah, for us, getting the combination of physical AI and robotics, that's basically what we believe in. And long story short, it's basic simulation, model, and commissioning. I can give you one example of our own factory in Germany. I have 3 factories in Germany, from Munich to Stuttgart. And in our factories, our robots are making the robots. Basically, it is duplicate itself right now. And we're using NVIDIA technologies for simulation and then commissioning on site. So in order to reach that goal, so what we actually what we're conducting before is that because robots, I'm a robotic scientist for 20 years, and then what is robots for me? Robot is nothing but perception, decision making, and execution. The 3 elements in combination, that's intelligent robot for me. So it doesn't matter what kind of form factor it is humanoids, or it's robotic arms with cameras, or it is autonomous driving car or aviation vehicles. That's all robots for me. So the factory, or let's say a fully robotized factory for me with different embodiments, different robots controlling by one brain, the whole factory is a robot for me as well. So what we believe is that to mitigate or let's say to close the loop from the brain to embodiment and then to application of the data and close that loop and try to run the flywheel, that's where we believe we will getting closer and closer to get the flexibility and the productivity in the right balance. So that's what we are also right now doing pretty well. And we saw those flywheel is really working pretty nicely in our own factories. And we're right now also implementing those things based on NVIDIA technologies in different plants of our customers.
Great. So we only have a few minutes left, so unfortunately I won't be able to get through all the questions I wanted to ask you. But I'd like to throw this one out there, and any one of you can pick it up. How are you thinking about the role and impact of long-running AI agents in the manufacturing context? And what do you think they're going to unlock more than what the existing co-pilots we have are doing?
Yeah, and maybe to start, currently we have a lot of co-pilots generating PLC code, generating HMI screens and so on. That's good. I loved when Jensen was yesterday talking about NemoClaw, OpenClaw, because that's basically is what we need to look at, because we want to automate entire workflows. Because today, still engineering, you have different disciplines which you can automate. You're designing your machine, you're doing the configuration, the sizing, you build your cabinet, you build your automation system, you program a robot. So different workflows with different skills. Can you automate those workflows? Can you do that with agents or orchestrator? And then if you go to the physical world, can you then having robots, automation system, machines interact, which is basically what NemoClaw, I was very curious about that one, we could build on, but it needs to be in a safe environment. That's why I was kind of always hesitant, can you do that in a factory environment? It needs to be safe. And then if you look at that, and then you optimize. You have the digital world and the real world, and you have that infinity loop of really optimizing all the time with those agents. So I think that is really would be really a breakthrough of further optimizing entire workflows.
I do really share that. I see two levels, agentic at enterprise level, all the planning, optimization, and then there's a shop floor. For robotics, of course, first you need the topology of robots that can absorb this value of continuous optimization coming from the system. Hence, this architecture of mobile robots and fixed robots is a necessity. But second, then at robot level, agentic is big, because when you think about robots being not programmed, but instructed by a person or instructed by a system, and they need to find their way, they're going to have their own skills. But when the skill is not, fulfilling the SOP it's been told to do, then they will, resort to agentic and rack and retrieve the information that is needed. For example, if you've got a laboratory and you can today already tell the robot, look at the scene and do this. First you take the pipette, then you mix, but then eventually there's a balance, and it hasn't been trained to switch it on. It can take the manual, look at the manual, understand the manual, and push the button. So augmentation through agentic versus kind of an SOP driven by a VLM, that's huge, and that's going to allow the robots.
Yeah, I think this is the big idea that hasn't quite clicked with everyone yet.
Yeah.
These agents we're talking about, the claws,
Yes.
are robots.
Yes.
They are acting autonomously. They perceive the world. Their world is digital.
Exactly.
They make decisions, and then they go act. They act by making API calls and using the computer.
Agree.
But we're going to take those same agents and put them inside a physical body, which is what you're talking about here.
Yes, definitely. Now it's all about getting those skills, those VLA industrial grade, but then beyond that, you will complement those skills with whatever is out there that an agent can find for the robot.
Very exciting. All right, I think we have time for maybe one more question. Rosalind, why don't we go with you? What excites you most about where manufacturing is headed? What piece of advice would you give to manufacturers, anybody here in the audience, to help them, given what's happening right now with all these technologies, all the new capabilities that have just come to light?
I guess what excites me most about manufacturing is having a look at the whole entire process. So you can't just focus on manufacturing to start with. Having a look at your engineering, design, and manufacturing process. That's the piece of advice. Like I mentioned at the start, making sure that you have your full digital thread connected from your engineering to your manufacturing. Now that you may say, okay, that's, we've been doing that for 10 years, but I think that's becoming more and more important, and making sure the knowledge from, the skilled workers in manufacturing is going into that digital thread. So then we can go into, as we've been talking about in this panel, fully autonomous type operations. But where does that all lead to for the consumer of these manufacturing goods? I guess the really exciting piece, and looking at it from an energy perspective, if we talk about where we're making infrastructure equipment here, at the moment, the grid in the US is under huge capacity constraints. So we need to be able to manufacture equipment more quicker. There's memory constraints. There's different semiconductor constraints in manufacturing. So the quicker we can get it out and the least amount of cost, as in lost cost. And again, linking back into the simulation environment, using that simulation environment through the whole design, engineering, and then into the manufacturing process, hoping that we can really cut months, if not years, off manufacturing this large-scale industrial equipment, but also reducing the lost costs so we can deliver that quicker and more autonomous. So I guess from an end-to-end point, that's what really excites me.
That all makes sense. For us at NVIDIA, it's really natural to think about building things in the physical world, simulation first, because that's always how we've built our most advanced products, our physical products, our chips. We don't know of any other way to build something this complex with essentially billions and billions of moving parts, billions and billions of transistors, and make sure that that thing can work as designed unless we simulate it first.
Yeah, exactly.
The complexity of all the other things we're building in the world are approaching those of semiconductors. They include semiconductors, so we have to do it this way. All right, with that, I think this timer here says 0, so I think they're going to kick us off stage soon if I don't end it. But thank you so much, everyone, for attending, and please a hand for our wonderful panel here. There's a lot of great insights.